What's going on, you guys? So today is day 150 in Asia. I cannot believe how fast time flies. 5 months. So today I wanted to talk to you about what my experience has been like traveling solo throughout Asia, and throughout this video I'm going to talk about my experience, what it's been like traveling solo, some things that I have learned, and probably throughout the entire video you will see my smile just burst all the way to my ears, because I'm just so happy and blessed and thrilled and excited to have had this opportunity to travel and experience a whole different part of the world. So I might be a little giddy, I don't know, but I want to share it all with you. I want to share my experience, my tears, my hardships, my triumphs, my successes, every single part of my trip. I think it brings such an important part and so much value to my life, and that is a huge reason why I think traveling is just, it opens so many doors, and it is just such an important thing to experience at least once in your life, because there's so much in the world to offer. So I am so excited for this video. And if you're new here, my name's Dana. I've been making travel videos and lifestyle videos and yoga videos, and if that's something that interests you, definitely consider subscribing. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. Alright, so let's get to it. I really just wanted to have a really casual conversation sharing my experience and what it's been like. First of all, I wanted to throw this question out. What do you think solo traveling really is? And for me, it is just having the freedom to do absolutely whatever you want, having no commitment or no connections. I'm losing my voice. And just being free to do whatever. And I know a lot of people turn away from traveling solo because they are afraid, they're nervous, they're afraid that they are going to be unsafe, bored, and just overall, like, maybe you feel lonely. And although those are all things that you could feel, those are all things that you could feel when you're traveling with someone as well. And the truth about solo travel is you're never really alone. Maybe you are alone going on your buses from point A to point B, but typically when you're staying at hostels, you are going to meet so many cool, amazing people, and you're never actually going to be alone. You're going to spend the days out, and you know, at least when you're traveling solo, you have the option to say, yeah, let's do this together, or no, I just feel like doing something on my own. And that is totally fine as well, but you build so many amazing connections, and yeah, you're never actually solo. Maybe solo travel isn't right for you, and that's totally fine, but I think everyone deserves a chance to experience it for themselves and really judge for themselves whether it is right for them. So like I mentioned, I've been gone for 5 months from home, and within that time I have learned a lot, not just about traveling in general, but about myself. And I wanted to share that with you. That I've learned while being away from home is you have to have patience, and a lot of it.
So I go to the train station early this morning to catch a train at 6:45, and the train that I was planning on doing, which I didn't even know was a thing, apparently didn't have general class, it only had AC.
Depending on what country you are in, a lot of the times things run behind. People like to say it's Asian time. Aren't going to always understand you. There's going to be a language barrier, so it's the communication errors and stuff that you could have. Same thing going to a restaurant or market or whatever and trying to order food and them not fully understanding what you're saying, and you just having to sit there and breathe and accept it. Those are kind of all things that come along with patience. Another thing is my bank cards have frozen like 5 or 6 times now.
This is the first day I actually feel like I was trapped. I'm just like, everything right now is irritating me so much, and the fact that they make it so hard for travelers to get around, and the fact that my bank has blocked and frozen my cards 4 times now within the past 2 months, and I have 3 different cards. It becomes so frustrating, and my level of irritation is just like way through the roof right now.
All while in India, and because there's such a time difference, it's really hard to contact people at home. And that's another thing that you kind of have to have patience with, is just knowing that you won't always be able to reach people instantly like maybe you would have been able to at home. Another thing is acceptance, and that is kind of just accepting the situation and accepting what's going on. And if you are in like a sticky situation, or you're stuck in an area and you're trying to communicate and you can't communicate, whatever it is, you just have to accept it and know that it's no one's fault. You are doing what you can to figure things out, but you just have to accept that not everyone understands, and that there's completely different cultural norms too. That's the other thing, accepting different cultural norms and religions and ways of living and life. And you see so much contrast while you're in Asia in general. So much contrast. Doesn't matter where you are, every single side of the road is completely different from one to the next. So it's just accepting your new environment and a new like way of life, or trying to merge that into your own. Then there's also acceptance that you are going to have days that need to be down days, that you're tired, that you're exhausted, and the last thing you want to do is travel or walk around or explore. And you have to accept that you need the rest too in order to enjoy yourself. And at first that was something really hard for me to understand, because you are in a new environment and all you want to do is explore and you want to see everything. And even though I'm not on like a time restriction or anything like that, you still feel like you need to do absolutely everything all at once. And the reality of it is, if you don't give yourself that rest and time that you need to just do nothing, you're not going to fully enjoy yourself, because you're just going to be dragging yourself along. And the amount of times I've just been so completely exhausted and just taken days to do nothing, stayed in places longer than I planned on just to give myself some rest, you know, in the end it is so beneficial, and it really can make or break having a good time in a certain area. I have learned, when you're spending lots of money on inexpensive things, you're still spending lots of money. And that was a huge eye-opener for me. After I left India, I had a look at my bank account, and I was kind of shocked at how much I had spent when I had no idea that I had spent that much. And India was extremely cheap. It really was. But like I said, when you spend money on all the inexpensive things, you're still spending money, and it does add up. Every penny adds up, especially when you don't have any income coming in. And I was fortunate for the first, I would say 2 months, to have, you know, just a small portion of paychecks coming in from the job that I had before I left. But after that, you have no money coming in, and you're just spending money, and you're just watching your money kind of disappear. So that was a huge eye-opener for me. It made me realize that I do need to be more conscious and aware of what I'm spending money on and what is really important to me, and also looking for more inexpensive options as to how I go about situations and things. I started taking a lot of public transportation instead of taking Uber or any of those things, or even just walking around, because, you know, walking or public transport is typically extremely inexpensive, and you know, it's better doing that and maybe taking a little bit more time getting more of a cultural experience than spending a bunch of money on Uber or a taxi or anything like that, depending on the situation. I also like to look at it as your time is also valuable, and if it takes you longer to get somewhere because you're taking the cheaper route, is it really worth spending less money? So those are kind of two sides to that, but both things to keep aware when you are going on your own trip. You can't see everything in whatever country you're in one trip. It doesn't work like that unless you're traveling the country for 6 months or something like that. Usually you're just scratching the surface, and as much as you want to see and do everything, it's just not realistic and not possible. And you just have to be okay that, you know, it gives you something to look forward to in the future when you decide to go back, if you want to go back. And all these countries are so massive, and I can't even say that I've scratched even a fraction of the surface of my own country, let alone these other countries that I'm traveling. So you know, I look at it as something to look forward to on your next trip. And it's okay if you don't get to see everything. You have to pick your priorities based on what you want, the time of the year, the weather. You just have to go with it and go with the flow, and everything will end up working out. And then the last thing is challenge, and it kind of ties into the other two things that I just talked about, the patience and acceptance, but challenge is like the number one. It is, there's always going to be challenges, and in order to overcome those challenges, it comes down to patience, and it comes down to acceptance, and it comes down to just being in the moment and just going with it. And whatever challenge it is, just figure it out as you go with the flow. You know, it's you're being challenged, but it's testing you. It's testing your patience. It's testing your ability to cope.
Oh my god. So much stuff though. So much stuff. The 10 rupees. Like, get out of here. Through several breakdowns, I just don't know what to do. Whatever comes my way, I continue to learn.
Testing so many different things that are really making you a better human being in the end, even if it doesn't feel like it in the moment. It has really taught me to be very self-sufficient and figure things out for myself. And because there's that timing difference between home and here, you know, it's like you don't always have access to contacting your parents or your friends or whatever. You have to figure things out on your own, and you could be out and about and you could run into a situation and you just have to figure it out. And that just comes along with solo travel. But I think a huge part of that is just being stronger within yourself. I've learned to be self-sufficient, and you have learned to cope, and you have learned to be in any circumstance or situation. And I think that is a huge life skill that you can't gain from anything else. And I think that is a really, really important thing to highlight, because not everyone in the world has access to being able to experience that and develop those skills that you can really only gain from seeing other parts of the world that are less fortunate than where you're from and where the norms are so much different. To sum it up, my experience in Asia has been amazing. So amazing. I've seen India, I've seen Malaysia, I've seen Myanmar, and I've seen Thailand, and I continue to take on this journey and see where it all takes me. And I literally have talked about this so much, but I am just going with the flow. I have no plans as long as flights allow me to do that. I have no outbound ticket. I have no accommodation for the first night. I figure it out as I go, and I think that is such an important thing to test yourself and challenge yourself from, because that is so far from what this Western culture and Western world is like. And I think that although it can be scary and overwhelming and stressful and anxiety provoking, it also can be so transformational, and so you just learn so much. It's so accepting and freeing, you know, having the ability to do whatever you want, having no time limit, having all this freedom in the world to figure things out for yourself with no expectations, no commitment. Yeah, it has been incredible.
Oh my gosh, you guys. This is so nice. The sand is so white. The beach is so warm, or the water is so warm. I can't even think right now because I'm kind of tired and I haven't eaten yet, but I wanted to go down to the beach first because why not? This is amazing.
So I really, really wanted to share that with you guys, because I cannot believe it is 150 days in Asia. And I can't believe I've been gone for 5 months, and it's just crazy how fast time flies and how much you can experience in such a short period of time. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I can't wait to share the rest of my travels with you. If you're not already, definitely consider subscribing to stay tuned with all the other places and things I go and visit and see, because obviously I'm going to share that with everyone. And if you enjoyed this, definitely give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys very, very soon. Bye. Here's to 150.